Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the show, dedicated to the craft podcast brought to you by Ballast Brewing Company. I'm your host, Jeff Lozano. And on today's episode, we are talking to Bill Shufelt and John Walker. That's a good name. That's a strong name, John Walker. And these are the co-founders of Athletic Brewing, craft non-alcoholic beer. You heard it correctly, craft non-alcoholic beer. I love these guys. I love their product. They were able to send me a little flight of their flagship beers that they're making across the street. I'm broadcasting from Miramar, our Ballast Point Miramar location, and they're actually across the street. They moved to San Diego not too long ago to disrupt the non-alcoholic craft sector, and I think they're doing a really good job at it. I mean, it kind of had me scratching my head going, wait a minute, where has this been? There's obviously a market for non-alcoholic beer. The sector is growing fast. Then you got like Heineken with their 0.0s. You got O'Doul's, obviously, but there hasn't been anybody to really, or at least that I know of, that has really gone out and tried to make a craft, delicious, non-alcoholic beer. And these guys have done it. They've done it so well that they've actually won medals in blind taste tests alongside alcoholic beer. So it's a testament to what they're doing over there. And the guys are just nice. They're humble. And what I really like about this episode is they're able to tell everybody a little bit more about their intentions, why they started Athletic, what they hope to achieve with Athletic. And I'll tell you what, after this conversation and after drinking some Athletic beer, I will always have a little bit of it in my fridge. It's definitely tasty, and some occasions just merit it. You don't always want to catch that buzz, people. So go ahead and grab yourself some Athletic craft beer, crack it open, and drink along, my friends. Salud. It is my pleasure to announce the new kids on the block, at least on our block, Bill Shufelt and John Walker from Athletic Brewing Company. How's it going, fellas?
Doing great. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great.
Doing great.
I'm actually way more excited to talk to you guys than you are excited to be on this show. And because what I haven't done in a long time is talk to brewers that are not making alcoholic beer. And that's exactly what Athletic has set out to do. And one of the most amazing things about what your company is doing and what I can see, it's, in my opinion, and we'll talk about this, you're terraforming this environment by supplying lovers of craft with an alternative, right? A non-alcoholic alternative. And it has so many places where it's applicable. And I just kind of want to get around all of that because I think it's really exciting. As a brewer, you get asked a lot, hey, what do you think about non-alcoholic beer? What's your taste on non-alcoholic beer? And I'm just really happy that, one, it's available for people, but two, that there's a company out there that's making good non-alcoholic beer, which I haven't had ever. So before we get to your story, you were able to send a bunch of craft beer my way, and I'm really excited to crack it open and talk about it. But we're going to start with one of your flagships, I believe, Upside Dawn, non-alcoholic golden. So while I crack this open, why don't we start with you, Bill, and just let everybody know who you are.
Cool. Thank you so much for having us on, Jeff. Really, we're so excited to be here and here in San Diego. I mean, it's such an incredible brewing community that we're excited to try to add another element to, and meet more occasions and bring more people into it. And it's incredible to be your guys' neighbors. You guys are absolute legends among a lot of other great breweries here in the area, like our friends at Karl Strauss and Pizza Port and all over the place. So it is truly like the beer capital of the country, and it's a lot of what you guys have done. So we're so thankful to be on, and thank you for helping share our story.
Oh no, man! Thank you. And so that everybody listening that doesn't know, you are literally across the street from Ballast Point here in Miramar. You actually moved in to what used to be our sours facility / barrel aging facility.
Yeah, it's an amazing facility, and we're super psyched to be your guys' neighbors and love coming to the brew pub too. It's incredible, absolutely incredible food. So, the beer you're drinking right now is kind of our like guilt-free weekday golden ale, like 50 calories, crafted to remove gluten, just meant to be super crisp and easily drinkable.
Okay. All right, gentlemen. We've started a renaissance in the world of Jeff Lozano. So Bill, what is your position at Athletic, and what do you do for the company?
So I'm one of the two co-founders, the other one being John. And we kind of set out on this crazy mission together. I'm the co-founder and kind of the outside world guy, and John's the co-founder and inside world guy. And yeah, really, we've been building this brick by brick together. My background came out of the financial world, and I never ever thought I'd leave the financial world. It was a stable job, intellectually challenging, and I really just had no ambitions to be an entrepreneur. But I loved food. I loved beer. I'd gone to college in Vermont within 20 minutes of like 5 great breweries. And that's when there weren't so many great regional breweries. There was like Long Trail, Magic Hat, and a bunch of other great breweries up there already when I went to college. And so I fell in love with beer. But as I was I was living in the city, serious day job, loved working out before work and like being on my game at work, and I was starting to run ultra marathons and stuff on the weekends. And really, like during the week, I wanted beer, but I didn't want hangovers. And like everything I was doing with my friends and family involved drinking. And like I wanted a beer that could go to those other days of the week and other hours of the day a lot. And so that left me looking around the non-alcoholic beer landscape. And kind of what you were just saying before is like, no one really thinks about non-alcoholic beer except to make fun of it. And like, that is such a problem that it's really like such a blind spot for beer. And it drove me nuts that there wasn't good non-alcoholic beer. And if I didn't want to drink, like with how incredible the craft beer world is, how come there weren't options to fit all these other life occasions? And I actually started reading brewing textbooks and just like being like, how is it possible that these options are so bad? And there were no new beers introduced in 25 years in the country. And so before I knew it, it became this intellectual passion, and like intellectual passion to then passion for impact. And before I knew it, I was 2 years in and on the verge of quitting my job. And so that's kind of how I got here. It was like totally accidental entrepreneur. But I'm definitely not the talent of the equation too, though, which kind of brings us to our other co-founder,
John.
Yes.
Mr. John Walker. You joined Bill. What's your story, man?
My story is I grew up in the food and beverage world, food and beverage life. I was washing dishes and making salads when I was 8 years old. Whole family would like work Christmas Eves. That was kind of our life. And did the whole school thing to kind of give my parents hope that I would leave the food and beverage industry forever. And totally failed to do that entirely. And so, I lived about 17 years in Santa Fe, New Mexico. And that's where I learned the craft of brewing. So I learned at Second Street Brewery. They've been around since 1996. It's an awesome little pub. Really early on they started. So Brewmaster Rod Tweet was my mentor, among all my other colleagues and the New Mexican brewing community. So I kind of learned everything there, and I'm about a decade in now to my brewing career. But I met Bill in 2017, and he had a fascinating story and mission. And it actually like jived with my life, where I was and being in food and beverage for so long and being around alcohol for so long, but loving the craft of brewing, having a young family, like it made sense. I saw the need in my own life and, therefore other people's lives for a craft beer that didn't have alcohol. And when you mentioned that we weren't going to do it the way it's been done, it's kind of like a fun brewer's challenge. So, challenge to make something good that isn't, and you're like, okay, well, I'll try that. And
Yeah.
So that, along with the whole mission and the goals of the business, made sense. So my family and I left Santa Fe, New Mexico, and drove up to Connecticut, and that's where Bill and I started our first brewery, which seemed huge. So we were in a 10,000 square foot building, which was way bigger than where I was coming from. And we had a 20-barrel brew house, which I just completed building one that size in New Mexico.
That's pretty big.
Yep. And so, yeah, we had that and a little pilot system and no means to which we could make this beer yet. And so we just kind of together we kind of crafted this little cart from Uline or something, I think, and threw a bunch of carboys on it and started home brewing for about the better part of a year, doing batch after batch, trying to figure out what we were going to do.
What a crazy story, because you must have felt like you were venturing into Mordor or something, like this very unknown place that even kind of preparing for this venture, you're immersed in how little there is about that actual venture. Brew books and brewing textbooks and stuff that focus in so much on achieving the alcohol, manipulating the yeast so that you get the alcohol. All of it is around alcohol. And so, I mean, you guys started brewing to figure out how to kind of reverse engineer it. How did that go?
It was fascinating and fun and terrifying at the same time, because we were building this thing. It was happening, and it was it has to work. So there's a little bit of pressure. But we worked through it. Yeah. And, it was a great duo at the very beginning. We both take challenges well, I think, and do well under stress and communicate well. And, at the end of the day, it was really fun. And like you said, one of the biggest challenges that we had was you learn from your friends, from your colleagues, from your brewing community, because you can go anywhere and ask anybody anything. How do you do this? What do you do? And everybody shares. But nobody had done that, and nobody had brewed this beer, so I couldn't call my community. So it was kind of wacky.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
It was great for Bill and I to basically do that ourselves and build our own community. And I think we can proudly say now that we have built internally and now externally too a community around craft non-alcoholic beer.
Well, this is good. I mean, it's really good.
Thank you.
You guys know that, but I'm just letting you know that I think that it's fantastic. And you guys have actually placed and won, you've won awards by people from beer contests, right? People don't even know that it's non-alcoholic beer, and you're winning best in show. That's kind of cool, right? That's a nice little nod, a little tip of the cap.
That's something John said when he joined up. He was like, I will not. He was like, I'm not signing to this or teaming up or investing time in it if you don't commit that we're not launching this product until it's great beer. John was like, it's not going to be just good non-alcoholic beer. It has to be real craft beer for us to actually go to market. And I agreed to that. And it's truly what we believed in. We wanted to brew products that we wanted to drink and that we would want to drink all the time.
What year is this? What year are we on the pilot system and in that space?
Yeah. So 2017, I quit my job at the turn of the year. I walked in on January 1st and my boss joked. He was like, anyone have any epiphanies over Christmas break? And I was like, actually, do you mind stepping into a conference room? And I was like, I've got this project I've been working on, and today's going to be my last day. And but then it was an incredibly dark, and no one could believe it. It was an incredibly dark time. By the time John responded to the job ad, it did not have anything about non-alcoholic in the job ad anymore. And I had probably gotten rejected by 200 of the first people who reached out about it.
Wow.
And super nice advice. A lot of craft brewers reached out just to be like, hey man, I'd be very wary. Like, I've never had someone ask for this in our brewery, or like it's not possible to do, or I went to CBC alone that year. It was pretty sad. Scoped out a lot of equipment, but then like John had won GABF awards and World Beer Cup awards when he reached out, and I was like, oh my goodness, like I can't blow this introduction. And the second John was receptive in the slightest, I was like on a plane to Santa Fe. And so it was but like it was really from like there on out, once we had a team, it was so much fun because you have someone to share in the challenges, and like, you know how it is, like something that seems catastrophic breaks every day in a brewery, and like it never ever runs smoothly.
Oh yeah.
And, like today was one of those days also, and like so it's been really fun to like build brick by brick and just have like a lot of fun putting beer in people's hands and changing their mind.
So you guys are really throwing caution to the wind here, but a lot of times when you're talking to entrepreneurs that have a really, really crazy idea to the rest of the world, it's not so much of a leap of faith because you believe in it so much, right? It's more of like, wait till you find out, wait till we show you, not, oh, I hope this hits. There's always some of that, but it sounds like you guys really understood what you were setting out to do, and you know. You kind of get these Shark Tank episodes where they just see a niche opening and they go, hey, let's just go there because nobody's there. There was a little bit of that, but there was just a lot more about how this was something that you personally wanted in your life.
Yeah. And I will say, and I know probably so many people on this podcast listening who have their own businesses know this, but the smallest things in business are so tough. And it's really that we were so excited about it and the impact we could have, and including more like, so there's so many people out there who don't drink, who like everything beer stands for about family and social occasions is awesome. And like those occasions are amazing, but there's so many people on the outside of that we want to bring into those occasions. And it was really that impact that like got us out of bed every day and had us so excited. And like, yeah, on Saturday mornings, I'd be waking up at 3 or 4 to go to a race and like give out 500 beers and like just get beer into people's hands. And yeah, when the chiller explodes and glycol goes all over the parking lot, and it's like
Yes.
basically like your last $10,000 is literally going down the drain in glycol in the parking lot. Like it's great to have like real passion behind it that you're fired up about, and like you can find a solution for anything.
So yeah, no, man, look, one of the jokes in the industry is before you hire a good brewer, hire a good mechanic. And it speaks true because like you said, when you kick your feet up and you crack open that athletic beer, that's when you get the call. They're like, hey, got to rush down or rush back or whatever. So so you guys are kicking this thing off 2017. You said that it took you a while to like your main focus was on not starting or releasing anything rather until it was world class. So what's the time frame on that, and how long did it take you to perfect the process to make something like this? This is delicious. I'm going to open up Trailblazer, by the way.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to say that it's always a work in progress. We're always perfecting and working to improve the quality, but we're proud of the way things are turning out and have turned out in the past. But that first stage it was, I don't know, how long was it? The better part of a year before we really locked in our process and like felt comfortable.
Yeah, a few months of collaborative research, and then John hit the ground in Connecticut, and I had the 3.5 barrel system, and he was like, we got to go way smaller than that. And we set up Gatorade jugs on like a tiered system. And
all right,
yeah, it was
homebrew.
Yeah, so it was probably 6 months there brewing on Gatorade jugs. And then when the beer started to taste good, we started doing construction in that 10,000 square foot building. And then we moved the homebrew setup to John's up the coast. And John was refining the beer. I would come up and we would hand bottle a bunch of beer. And then I would drive it around and go visit retailers and distributors and stuff like that. So it was literally walking into Whole Foods with hand bottled, unlabeled beers and being like, you guys,
that's cool.
like you guys, and like testament to Whole Foods, like as big a company as they've gotten, they were our first like real believer on the retail side. And the buyer in one of our local stores referred us to the regional office, and like I went down to the regional office with unlabeled beer, and like they were totally into it, and they were huge ambassadors, and that basically got us our distributor, and then like it went from there. So yeah,
you know, it doesn't strike me as too odd. They kind of broke the mold too by creating a big supermarket franchise based on you know, organics and a little bit more of a conscientious food. So you totally fit the bill. This is very health oriented, and that's pretty crazy, man. That's a wild point in both of your lives, and that's actually pretty fast to get a product that you were really comfortable with to start going out. That's pretty fast, man. And I'm assuming that it had a lot to do with your expertise, John, in that you knew what you were doing.
Yeah. No, I mean, you know, hats off to all my mentors and, you know, my brewing family from New Mexico and beyond for, you know, teaching me what I know, because that's where a large part of this came from. You know, Bill often won't take credit for it either, but he had a huge part in like the research and development and thinking of new things. So yeah, everybody played a huge part, and hats off to, well, shout out to Kara Wilson, our brewer. So that Trailblazer beer is, that was our Pink Boots brew that Kara drummed up with the Yakima Valley crew. So very cool. That just came out.
That is cool, man. I told you, Bill, this was one of the things that I got really excited about when I heard that you had done a collaboration with the Pink Boots blend. We just had the ladies on, and it's such a great kind of movement, and there was a lot of energy that came out of that episode. So I was really happy to hear that you're doing this. It's delicious. This is a hoppy, an India Pale Lager, 55 calories. Man, tasty. It's good.
Yeah, super refreshing, really drinkable. They did an awesome job.
Yeah, Kara's an awesome teammate. She came from Asbury Park in New Jersey, so she reached out to us, met us, and she drove in her car through COVID and just set up shop on the West Coast with us. So super cool leap of faith on her part to drive across the country and start brewing non-alcoholic beer.
So what's these unlabeled bottles that you're trying to pitch? What was it Run Wild? I mean, was it Upside Dawn? Was it your Run Wild? What was it?
Yeah, those two. It was a lot of Upside Down Golden Ale. That was just because it's so like clean and crisp. That was like, we knew the defects would come out most pronounced in that. So we did a lot of our trial batches on Upside Down, and then we went into Run Wild and made a stout and stuff. So
that's right. You guys have what I would consider a very eclectic portfolio for the non-alcoholic craft beer space, which is, like I said, amazing. So you're running around. You guys are super proud of what you're doing. You're also super scared because you're hoping someone's going to catch on to your philosophies and stuff. Where's the growth spurt happening now, and what spawned it?
I think the mileage on Bill's car.
I mean, we had 3 teammates, like 4 teammates for the first 6 months, and we were all going around the clock doing all sorts of stuff. And it was great because we got to learn a lot of our mistakes at a really small scale, like true craft beer style, like just brick by brick. And like, we'd make a mistake, and at least at that scale, it doesn't hurt to dump beers and learn your lessons, and like putting in a tunnel pasteurizer and things like that. And so it was great that we got to learn at a small scale, but like at each turn, John and I, like, we were really bootstrapping it, and we were like, do we make this bet? Like turning the year into hop contracts and can contracts and things like that. Like we had to make real projections, and we were just like kind of like holding our nose and just like going, like hitting send and going for it. And it was kind of fun to believe in ourselves and then work like really hard to get that beer out the door too.
Yeah, but I do have to say, credit where credit is due. Bill literally would go, working 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. He would, participate in brew, canning, doing all the books, all the, front of house, back of house. And then he would be at every single race in like a 400-mile radius every single weekend and be handing out beers at these places. And, by the time me and at that time Andrew and Russ kind of like left the box of the brewery and like could come out to see daylight, Bill and then the ambassadors and people that were early believers had built this community and culture, and it was like infectious positivity. Basically, it was amazing to see.
That's it sounds as though what you're saying is, so initially you were, hence the name, I guess, you were very much depending on the athletic community, the health conscious community to really take your craft beer to the next level. Did you guys anticipate that it was going to fall so heavily into the hands of like other demographics, like just recovering alcoholics and DDs and just people that just love the taste?
Yeah. So our goal was to make like beer for everyone and all occasions, but our targeting of athletics was beer, like non-alcoholic beer had always been this penalty box beverage that you drank when you weren't participating in the fun. And whenever you couldn't, like, it was always something people were like turning the label in their hand and hiding, or putting in a glass so no one knew what they were drinking, or pretending to drink a vodka soda when it was really just like a soda water. And we wanted to take that to something that was like actually positive and people were proud of, and be like, hey man, have you tried this? Like, I drink this every night of the week, or like, this is my Saturday afternoon beer. And like, we just want to make it positive and aspirational. And I think athletics was a really natural tie to that, because people are at the end of a race, people are in a good mood, they're sweaty, they're thirsty, and you can get a beer into people's hands so easy, and they're receptive to it. And it's funny, I got made fun of to my face more times than I could ever remember. And I wish there was like a highlight reel of all the great jokes, but like testament to people, like if you get a beer into people's hands, like they would turn around and come back and be like, where can I buy this? Like, and like someone who was like just so rude to your face would be like, this is good beer. Like, I'm sorry, man. Or like, it's pretty fun.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, also like our whole thought was too, like the beer, wine, and spirits world are so great and they symbolize so many great occasions. And like, we were never trying to take that away or cannibalize those occasions. But there was so much fighting for those existing alcohol occasions. We wanted to bring new people into that and new days of the week to it. Like I saw a Nielsen stat a couple of weeks ago that 77% of non-alcoholic beer drinkers now drink alcohol at other times. So it's like, it's truly just adding in new occasions to the beer world and bringing more people into those occasions.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know how that went under the radar for so long when something like this was possible. You mean you guys did it, and are part of the group that's spearheading it, but you start to scratch your head when you think about how long non-alcoholic beverages have been around, like these complementary beverages, I guess, mocktails and old duels and all that stuff. But nobody was really putting a lot of time and effort into making a better tasting beer, which is what you guys did. This is delicious, and it has head retention. And I'm talking to you, John. Like it's one of those little things that you go like, this has head retention. Like this is not only is it enjoyable and it has a good flavor, but scrutinizing it, you go like, you're covering all the bases because it is beer. Just you guys don't have the alcohol. Now you guys are growing. You guys are finding your stride. And at what point and at what stage were you when you decided that it was necessary to open up another facility? And then how did you guys land here in San Diego?
So we were kind of going back, we had built the brewery of what we thought was the future, and we had tons of runway. And it turns out all those like field trips that Bill was doing on the weekends kind of drummed up this demand. And all of a sudden we had people knocking on the door asking for the beer, and the distributor was like, we need more. And so we maxed out our capacity, and quickly doubled that capacity in Connecticut. And at that point we were running at about 11,000 barrels a year. And we're like, okay, well, we know that if we want to do this, we have to do it, and we want to do it. This is our product, and we're going to make it. And so I think we were out at GABF in 2018.
I think early
19.
Yeah,
19. So 2019, and we had been tossing around the idea of expanding, but didn't know where. Would we build local? Would we go elsewhere? But we found that a lot of people who kind of loved our product were coming from California, and this facility popped up on the radar. And we, instead of flying home from Denver, we flew to San Diego, saw the facility that was beautiful, and that you guys had like built from scratch, 4 brewers. And we're like, this is it. This is perfect. And so
Very cool.
We kind of sat at a coffee shop for the next like 8 hours and tried to figure out how to make it work.
Yeah, we went to like a coffee shop, put numbers in Excel, and we were like, can this possibly work? And then we went for like a long walk as like a sanity check, and like kind of just decided to go for it. I mean, I know Ballast Point knows as well as anyone the pain of like outselling like your supply. And like I've heard the stories about like your Scripps Ranch facility that you guys grew out of, and like how you guys extracted every ounce possible from your former facilities before growing into the big facility. And it felt that way too. Like I felt like me and John felt like we were totally letting down our sales force that was doing such a killer job out there. And there's nothing worse than not being able to get partners or retailers beer in the world. And so, yeah, we decided to take a big swing. And it was a big part of this community too, like San Diego being like the beer capital of the country, and California being so health forward and like being such an early adopter of our beer too. So that all was a big part of it.
Yeah, I bet, because what you're essentially trying to do is you're trying to supply all the craft beer lovers, not just beer lovers, specifically craft beer lovers. Even though your beers are light and full of flavor, they're not taking the same course as some of these Heineken 0.0s or whatever. We'll say big beer, right? And what you were trying to do is you were trying to be the craft beer, the non-alcoholic craft beer go-to. And it was just so you guys landed in San Diego because that had a for sale sign, and it just, you guys came in and you fell in love with it. Everything fit in perfectly. If it would have happened somewhere else in California, same facility, same kind of deal, a little sooner, you might have bit there.
Potentially, yeah. It was, we were in desperate need of a bigger home. Oh, look at that. Nice.
That's good, dude.
Yeah, I mean, the appeal that San Diego specifically has still, is the brewing community and the professionals and the culture that we love and like participating in, and it's awesome.
Yeah, and what you've done already quickly, and I'm sure you did it back in Connecticut, but now you're doing it here, and it's such a nice thing to see, is that you have really integrated yourself into the community. You made yourselves a part of the culture really quick. With the Pink Boots thing, you guys brewed a version of Sierra Nevada's Resilience. Then when I heard of that, I was like, what? I didn't know that either. So you've been very active, and you've been a big aid in some of these movements that the craft beer community has really, thrusted forward and stuff like that. So that's nice to see coming into a city that is very, very alcoholic.
Yep. Yeah. No. I think those are the things that attract us to craft beer specifically too. Is like those movements and the mission, and it's positive and making a positive impact. And the craft brewing community does it so well as a community, and it's fun and it's great to do good things together. So
yeah, I like that. Should be a bumper sticker, dude. Put that on a shirt. It's great to do good things together. So you guys come into Trade Street, and I walked over there the other day to pick up some of the beer that you were gracious enough to give us, and it looked a little different since the last time I was there. So tell us a little bit about the facility that you have right now across the street.
Go.
Yeah, it's just like things start as a joke, and then we joke about it so much, and they end up actually in the building. I'm sure you know what that feels like. I was like totally joking about a 200-barrel whirlpool a few months ago, and then, or I guess it was more than a few months ago now, but I was like, I think we really need a 200-barrel whirlpool, and I was being totally sarcastic. And then like 6 months later, there was like literally a 200-barrel whirlpool on order, and yeah, our plan was always the setup of the brew house like worked perfectly for our process, but we just needed to expand the fermentation capacity and stuff. And it's such a cool facility though, and really truly built by brewers. Like the first time I walked in there and saw Chris like fly around the equipment and stuff, it's like just like such an impressive team and brewery. So
yeah. John, were you pretty happy with as far as the kind of the scaffolding that you guys first came in to see when you first stepped into Trade Street? Were you just really happy with what was already included in the package?
Yeah, I was super impressed with the build and the functionality, and like it had all of things that were computerized that a brewer would want, but the things that brewers actually really like to touch and handle, they were still there. People like to throw valves every now and then to make sure like they work. Not everything is automated, and so it had all these this awesome like combination of old school and new school. And
we left it in good shape, man, and I'm glad that you're doing something with it. I'm drinking the Run Wild, your IPA, dude. There's a reason why this is a flagship, and this one probably gets scrutinized the most. The IPA here in San Diego. They're going like, all right, let's see this IPA and let's taste it. Let's give it a whirl. And it's delicious. It's delicious. We haven't talked about the process. We've alluded to the process, but it's a proprietary process, right? Like the exciting stuff is proprietary. But other than giving us the secrets, is it just a regular beer brew and then you guys just do something, or how does that work?
It's just a regular beer brew through and through. We make a series of tweaks from recipe development all the way through the brew house, through the brewing process, all the little tweaks a brewer might make. Mm-hmm. And, we just have more of them, and all the way to the back end. And, I think, there's no single magic bullet that does it for us. It's just attention to detail. And this is, sounds weird saying, but like skill and craft, and that people really take pride in and spend a lot of time doing. And so between that and then at the end of the day, food safety and shelf stability in a non-alcoholic product is, paramount to what we do. It's without the ethanol as a preservative, we have to be super cautious and, exercise a couple of other things that normal breweries don't have to do because they have ethanol as a preservative. And so
tell everybody that doesn't really know why that is important, why that's important, not having the ethanol as a preservative, what can happen.
Yeah, so ethanol can, so ethanol staves off bad bacteria, and it could be simple beer spoilers, but also like bad bacteria that can actually make you sick. So if you're not treating your beer properly, you could actually make people sick. And if your beer is infected, you could re-ferment. So can't have that happening either because we've got sensitive populations at times. So there are a number of things. If your pH is off, you can grow botulism. So there's all sorts of things to watch out for. So it's, I think that's probably what we spend the most time on any given day is the quality and, quality assurance.
I bet. And you've adopted a little lab in there too that came with it. So I'm sure that you're putting that to good use.
Yes, very. We have an awesome team out there.
Yeah, this stuff's good, man. I like it. I like it a lot. It's feels good. Feels good on my mind. Feels good on my I'm about 2.5 beers through. I'm gonna buzz right now, but not right now. And I'm feeling good. So you guys are setting out to do some of the Lord's work. I'm going to, though, because we're going to be running short on time soon. I want to talk about Tucker's West Coast IPA so that we get all the beers that you gave us a little love. Can you talk to me a little bit about this beer? Anybody?
Yeah, I can start, and Bill can add on, I'm sure. So Tucker was an early add to the team out in California, and unbeknownst to us, when he joined the team, he's famous. It seems like everybody in the entire San Diego brewing community knows Tucker. But anyway, just an awesome guy, incredible brewer, and we didn't have a true West Coast IPA when San Diego launched, so that was kind of his passion project, and he just wanted to make something really lean, light, crisp, and delicious that was super hop forward and bitter and aromatic, and something that really resembled the classic San Diego IPA. And
yeah, it says pilot program on it too, so
yep.
it's that.
Yeah, so that started out on the 7-barrel system that we have in the middle of the big brewery, and then that has graduated up to we're doing 100-barrel batches of it now.
Wow. Okay. Cool. Let's see. Well, that's good, man. Again, another beer that would be highly scrutinized here in San Diego, and you guys are delivering, and you guys are meeting the skeptics out there with some good beer. It's really awesome to see that there's a place for that in this particular community, because, like I said, I have bumped into or ran into these occasions now. To Bill's point, it's like there is a beer for every occasion, alcoholic or non-alcoholic, and I think this is going to start sitting in my fridge a lot more often, guys. So,
what's up? Oh, I was going to say, kind of just like you were saying before, like 2.5 beers in, I'm starting to feel that buzz. Like, there is a placebo effect, or it's like your grandma's chocolate chip cookie effect, where like there's so much more than the alcohol going on, where you smell the hops, the malt, the ingredients before, like so long before the alcohol would affect you. Like you have that like relaxation and enjoyment. And there was kind of a realization I had when like I was like cutting back my drinking, that like so many of my favorite beers were that like first beer when I get to a bar and see my brother, see my friends, and like it didn't really have as much to do with the alcohol at that moment. And that made me connect the dots that like there's so many great non-alcoholic occasions, and like beer can transcend just alcohol. And so that's kind of what we're going for. But I will say there's a real placebo effect. If you like are having a stressful day and have like a hoppy IPA at 3 p.m, it definitely like takes your temperature from like an 8 to like a 3. So yeah.
No, that's such a good point. I'm glad that you brought it up, because in my experience, at least, I have reached a point where I realize, like a lot of that comfort that I'm seeking sometimes from the beer, I was receiving from something else, a hot cup of tea or a coffee the way I like it, or something like that. And you'd sit down at the table, and you would have the same sense of engagement with whoever you're talking to, the sense of community. You could be at the breakfast table drinking coffee, and you still get this like, hey, I'm having a really good time. And what I understood about myself was like, I just needed something to facilitate this. it was a reason to get here. It was something to have that I can sip on once in a while and just almost be a backdrop to this beautiful experience that we're having and stuff like that. And I think that's what you're talking about. And I think that's what a lot of people are getting with your product without, like you said, the hangover or the $35 Uber bill.
But that's definitely nothing to be said that there aren't great occasions to get loose, to de-stress, everything else too. Like we're literally just trying to expand the populations and the occasions. So yeah.
Well, you guys are doing a really good job. So what's the future looking like for you guys? Talk a little bit about what you're seeing in the trend, in the NA trend, because it's pretty eye-opening.
It's been fun. I think where it's kind of at right now is the market is starting to grow, but a lot of it is cycling out products that people really didn't want also. So like there's new beers like ours coming in and taking that share that was in the legacy products. And then starting to see some great beers come into the category. Like it's cool to see Lagunitas come in. We've got Bootstrap in Colorado, like Bravas, Surreal here in California, Wellbeing, Brooklyn, Carbach. So it's cool to see the shelf like finally turn over and get a bit more exciting. And it was like the dustiest shelf in the whole grocery store for 3 decades. And it's like, it's so cool to just see it turn over and become more exciting and become socially acceptable. And so that's really kind of what I'm excited about. But like, just speak like as the guy who it grew out of my own life and like what I wanted, what I was missing in the world. What's pretty nuts is like now when I open my fridge, I can have like 1 of 5 different good non-alcoholic beers to pair with what I'm eating. So it's like you can have like an IPA with something, you can have a light beer with something, you can have a stout with a burger. Like you literally can pair up food now with a good beer. So that's really exciting for me.
Oh yeah, that's huge. It's huge. It's a big part of what we do here at Ballast Point. It's a big part of the community. It's food pairing. I say if there's one thing that's going to make beer better, it's going to be a good dish to accompany it. So that's a really good point.
Yeah, beer has no blind spots. I love that saying.
It's really exciting, and I'm super excited to get a lot more context behind your brand. You guys are rad. So one of the bigger parts of I guess every industry, but this industry in particular, it's the people behind the brand. And what you really want to do, especially in these times, everything that we've gone through, you want to vote conscientiously because you don't know if it's going to be the last buck in your wallet, right? So you want to kind of know where it's going. And it's always nice to vote for a company that has great people behind it. And one of the things that you've been able to do here in San Diego, and I'm sure this is part of your ethos, and you guys started from this in Connecticut, but you've brought a lot of really good, talented people onto your team. Some of them used to work here, and they come once in a while to have a Ballast Point beer, and they're singing praises, and everyone's asking, "What's it like over there?" Hey, it's like it's the other side of the universe, and they're like, "What is it like over there?" And I got to tell you, they are loving it. They love working there. They absolutely love the product, and I can see why. But they're really happy with everything that they are experiencing over there at Athletics. So just so you guys know.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks.
No, thank you guys. Yeah, Bill.
I was going to say thank you so much, and that was something we were like so struck by the community and how awesome people are here. And when you open the doors at Ballast Point, like when we got our first tour of the brewery behind you, it's like such a great group of people inside those walls making world-class beer, and your brew pub is to die for also. Talking about good food pairings.
Yeah, we'll have to do a cool beer dinner once things start to loosen up a little bit, and we'll pair some Athletic, we'll pair some Ballast Point, and we'll do this cool, beautiful beer dinner, and I can't wait for it. Listen, guys, we're gonna start wrapping up, but I think this is a great opportunity for everybody to know where they can find you. Where is Athletic? How do we get Athletic craft beer?
We're just at Athletic Brewing on all social medias, even TikTok. You can see some behind the scenes stuff
All right.
on there.
Okay.
And then just athleticbrewing.com is super easy. We're in stores throughout the area, like most grocery stores. And then we do a bunch of the pilot releases that you guys have seen are available on our website from time to time also.
I guess one of the cool things that, and I guess it's important to mention, one of the cool things that happened during the whole pandemic is that you were still able to sell your product because it's non-alcoholic, so you can actually ship it across state lines, right? So anybody can get it if you ship there, I guess.
Yeah, that was one of John and I's early job descriptions, was packing e-commerce packages to mail. And like every night we would drive them down to FedEx and mail them out. But it's been fun to go from like that scale to like actually mailing thousands of packages out every day. And yeah, the e-commerce is cool because it almost makes our tap room national. And like we send out a new beer like the Tuckers you're drinking, and we get feedback from people all over the country being like, love it. Will you change this? Will you do this?
That's awesome.
And like, so it's a lot of fun. And a lot of our best ideas come just from ear to the ground and mailing out a lot of beer.
Look, this stuff is good. This stuff is great. You guys are doing a great job at Athletic, and I'm so happy to have you a part of the community, man. You guys are awesome. Your company is awesome, and I hope to have many beers with you guys in the near future. All right, so come across the street sometime.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for welcoming us into the community. And yeah, we got to collaborate on something for sure.
Yeah, yes, dude. That is a must. It would be so rad to collaborate in some form or fashion. And we'll call it the Friendly Neighbors collaboration or something like that. I think it's going to be.
Get the band back together.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Well, look, dude, we're community building. We are community building one pint at a time. So thanks a lot. Thank you again. And I'll see you guys soon. Thanks.
Cool. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, man.
Have a great night.
No worries, brother. All right, guys. That was amazing. I hope you enjoyed that conversation. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share the rest of our episodes on Ballast Point's YouTube page, channel, whatever. You can follow us on ballastpoint.com, Instagram, Facebook, all that jam. I'll see you next time, and thanks for tuning in.